Hey, welcome back. I'm Gwen. Thanks so much for stopping by. We're going to have so much fun today, y'all. We're going to be creating some really sweet and easy, fun Easter DIYs. Now let's get started. For this DIY, we're going to be using this flocked bunny from Hobby Lobby, and I got mine on sale for 40% off the regular $14.99, so not a bad deal. And I removed the white ribbon that was around the neck because I'm going to be adding this light mint green burlap ribbon. This came from the Dollar Tree. I've just folded it in half, and then I'm just going to add just a tiny bit of hot glue just to keep it in place, and then just wrap the other end around and then hot glue that in place as well. We're going to make a really simple bow for the bunny, and I'm just using two different types of ribbon. The green, as you know, is from Dollar Tree, and then this beautiful pink ribbon with the butterflies is from Hobby Lobby. Now, I've had this for about 2, maybe even 3 years now. I have not seen it this year or last year there, so if you want to recreate this, you may have to find something a little bit different. But anyway, just making a simple bow, folding it over like you would an awareness ribbon, and just pinching it in the center, making sure my loops are not too big. And then I'm just going to wrap a piece of pipe cleaner in the center while I make the green bow, and I'm just going to create the green bow exactly the same way, and then I'll just untwist the pipe cleaner and layer it on top of the pink. I'm just going to twist that pipe cleaner several times to make sure it's not going to come undone. Just clip off the ends, and then I'll fluff out the bows really good, and then trim up the ends and dovetail them just to give them a nice pretty finish. Now these tails are pretty long. I will go back later off camera and trim them up a little bit more because they were just a little bit crazy even for me. And then I'll just go ahead and hot glue the bow to the ribbon that's wrapped around the bunny's neck. And now we get to add in all of our little embellishments. And this little pick came from Michael's, and I actually picked it up for 70% off. I was there recently, and they had all of their spring florals for 70% off. And y'all, I had a gift card left over from the honey, and I went crazy. I really did. So I am excited about some upcoming projects, and I can't wait for y'all to see them. So just a little hint there. But anyway, this big flower was left over from a project from last year. Y'all know I like to recycle. So I'm just hot gluing it there in the center of the bow, and then I'm just going to start adding in just little bits and pieces from the pick. And this is a great way to use a pick and not have to buy a whole bunch if they're not on clearance or not on sale. You just cut them apart and then just add them in here and there however you want. Y'all, this pick is just so pretty. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the egg I just inserted is wrapped in cloth. It is just beautiful. I wanted to get 2 or 3 more, especially at 70% off of $4.99, but sadly this was the only one they had, and trust me, I looked. So another good reason to cut your pick apart and make it go a little bit further. I decided not to use the little pink and white flowers that came with the pick. Instead, I'm going to use these little pink flowers. Now, I also picked these up from Michael's at 70% off, and they're just so pretty. I got a whole big, huge bush of them, and they're just gorgeous and just perfect for a little project like this. And y'all, you see the greenery or the green leaf and the 2 little pink balls hanging down. That just was not doing it for me, so I decided to go in and clip off that leaf and then the smaller pink ball. Now, I do add the green leaf back in with just a little bit of hot glue, but I'm going to take that smaller pink ball and I'm going to clip it off right at the base, and then we're just going to add that right to the center of the white flower just to give it a little pop of color. And I think that is just the perfect finishing touch. I am so happy with how this turned out. I've seen them on TikTok and on Pinterest so many times, and I'm like, you know what, that would be so easy to make, and it absolutely is. If you decide to recreate this, let me know. Let me know what color bunny you use. They have all different colors at Hobby Lobby, and they also have some of these flocked bunnies at Walmart. They're not quite the same shape, but similar to it, but I couldn't find a white one like this, so that's the reason I went to Hobby Lobby, and I'm so glad that I did. We're going to start this project by giving this wooden bunny from the Dollar Tree 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to be painting both the front and back side. We're going to paint the outside edge of the bunny with Tropic Orange from Apple Barrel. Now, if you don't want to do this, you can always just leave it white or the natural color of the wood, or you can even add ribbon if you prefer. But I'm going to be adding reindeer moss to the flat side of the bunny. It is such a pretty light green. I thought this color would just really make the bunny pop and just really give it definition. Now, it did turn out to be a little bit more orange than what I had anticipated. It looked kind of more peachy when I first started, but that's okay. You'll see in just a moment when we start to add our florals that it just works and it just comes together so beautifully. I'm going to use hot glue to apply the reindeer moss. Just be careful not to burn your fingers when you're patting the moss down. Yeah, I was so happy to find this moss this year. It has been so long since my Dollar Tree has had really good quality reindeer moss, and it's just so fluffy and moist. It's not all brittle and falling apart. I'm gushing over moss. I can't believe that, but anyway, I'm just going to cover the entire front of the bunny rabbit with this moss. Now, I chose not to trim off the little bit of excess moss that's hanging over the sides. I personally love how it looks against the orange, and I like a little bit of a lush, untamed look. But if it bothers you or not your thing, please feel free to grab your scissors and trim that stuff up. As I always say, my projects are simply for inspiration. If I'm creating something that's not exactly your taste, your color, your style, whatever it might be, change it up, make it work for you. I'm just here to give you ideas and hopefully inspire you a little bit and hopefully entertain you just a little bit. Next, we're going to add in our pretty little flowers, and these are just pieces I had left over from other projects. Y'all always hear me talk about my bag of greenery. Well, I have a bag of greenery for spring as well, and it's always great to keep them for little projects such as this. I did go in and snip off those little pieces that's on the back of the flower because I want them to lay as flat as possible on the moss. Now, I am guilty of smashing my flowers down just a little too much. So off camera, I did go back and fix that. I just very gently pulled the flower, not so much as to pull them up, but just very gently pulled them up and just fluffed them a bit. This succulent came from the Dollar Tree, and obviously it's way too big for this little bunny, so we're just going to be using the top part of it. And I'm just going to pull it off, and then because it's kind of thicker and heavier than the other little flowers, I am going to use a little more hot glue than I did on those and just hold it in place until it has time to set up. Then I'm just going to go in with some of these little bits and pieces of greenery and just delicate little flowers and just start to fill in any holes or gaps that I might have. Thank you so much for choosing to click on my video and watch it. I truly appreciate that. If you're new, welcome. So happy to have you here. If you're returning, a great big welcome back. So happy to have you here and to say thank you for all your continued support, your wonderful comments, your thumbs up. It truly helps my channel to grow. If you're not subscribed and you're enjoying my video, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. It would mean so very much to me. I thought these little pink fuzzy things would be just perfect for his little ears, and I have no idea what they are called. They were left over from another project. If you know what they are, tell me down below. And then for his little tail, I'm sorry about the angle here, it's not very clear, but I'm using these little pom-poms, and I'm just going to hot glue 3 of them and create a tail for him. Or her. What do y'all think? Is it a him or a her? Off camera, I did switch out the flower that's near the bunny's nose. I just thought the one that I replaced it with worked so much better. I hope you found as much inspiration from this little piece as I did from the picture on Pinterest. I will have that linked down below in the description box for you. It's just such a fun and easy, inexpensive little project to do, and I think it's just such an adorable little centerpiece. You'll see in just a moment, I have it in between 2 candles on my table in the living room, but you could create a couple of more, put them down the center of your dining room table, and it would just be so pretty for Easter. Y'all, this is just such a fun and easy little DIY. You're going to need a cone of whatever size you might have on hand. This one came from Michael's and it's about 10 inches, I believe, and then some yarn. And my yarn came from Dollar Tree. I think this is such a pretty color. But anyway, we're going to put just a little tiny dab of hot glue on the tip of the cone and then just put your yarn down. And then you're just going to start wrapping it around in a circle. And you're just going to continue to put down a little bit of hot glue, not too much because you don't want it seeping out everywhere. And then a little bit, or rather twist your yarn. And then you'll just continue all the way down. Now once I get it started really good and going down the cone, I'm going to just use my hot glue very sparingly because it can get a little bit globby and messy, and just be careful not to burn your fingers as well. But also once you get it going, the cone is kind of rough, so it'll help to hold your yarn in place as well, so you won't need that much hot glue. Unless that's what you want, then go for it. Y'all, this was just such a fun and fast little DIY to make, and I cannot tell you how soft this yarn is. It is just so soft and cozy. I had plenty left over after making this carrot. If I don't make some more carrots before the Easter holiday gets here, and y'all, it's getting here quickly, I'm going to use it during the fall and make some pumpkins. I am so in love with how soft it is. As I mentioned earlier, the further down the cone you get, the easier and faster you will move. You won't have to use nearly the amount of hot glue. Now, I did use a little bit every so often just to make sure it's going to stay in place, but as long as you hold it rather snugly as you're turning, it really does keep it in place, and the roughness of the cone will help to hold it in place. I just want to take a quick moment to welcome everyone and say hello and thank you so much for being here. If you're new to my channel, I'm Gwen. Welcome to At Home with Gigi. So happy to have you here. If you're enjoying my video, I would like to invite you to hit that subscribe button. It's an absolutely free way to support my channel. And to my returning subscribers, y'all know that I think you are so amazing, and y'all always leave me the most wonderfully sweet comments, and they are so appreciated. And it's another free way to help my channel to continue to grow. Commenting, hitting that thumbs up button, it just lets YouTube know that people are watching my videos and enjoying them, and it just means so very much to me, and I am always and forever so appreciative. As I got closer to the center of the cone, I just worked in smaller sections and used just a tiny bit of hot glue, and then used the tip of my tool and just tapped the yarn into place. I was trying to prevent any seeping of the hot glue and just getting it all over my yarn. This worked really well, and then as I just got closer, I just left a little small opening right in the center where we're going to place our greenery, and then I just cut the end of the yarn and then added a little more hot glue and just tapped it into place. Next, we're going to add in some really pretty greenery to the top of our carrot, and to me it just looks like it's the perfect topper for your carrot. I found this at the Dollar Tree. It did not say what type of greenery, it just said greenery bush, so I'm just clipping it down to different heights, and you can certainly hot glue yours in if you want to. I like to recycle my greenery, so I'm not going to hot glue it. And y'all, I finally hit the jackpot. I've been fussing for months that my local Dollar Tree is not carrying greenery. Well, I went really early on a Saturday morning and they had just stocked up. So I was able to get quite a few pieces of greenery, and I can't wait to share them with you in the next few videos. Now you can certainly stop right here if you choose. This is just adorable as it is, but we're going to go one step further and we're going to add a cute little bow, and I'm just going to make my favorite type of bow, just layering ribbon on top of each other, just fold it over like you're doing an awareness bow. Now this ribbon, the mesh or lacy type ribbon that came from Dollar Tree a couple of years ago, the green that I'm folding here on screen, the chiffon, it came from Amazon. I'll link it down below for you. And then the cute little carrot ribbon, that also came from the Dollar Tree. And again, I'm just layering it on top of each other. And then I'll take a piece of twine, tie it in the center, knot it a couple of times just to make sure it's not going to come loose. Then we're just going to hot glue it to the top of the carrot, kind of at a little jaunty angle. And then once that's secured, I'm going to pop this little heart button right in the center to cover up the twine. And that is it, y'all. It is just absolutely adorable and so cute, and it was so quick and easy to make. For this DIY, I'm going to be using 3 packets of this finger loop yarn. Mine came from Amazon. And then I'm going to be using this bunny wreath ring, and then also a 14-inch wreath ring. And both of these came from Dollar Tree. To attach the yarn to the frame, I'm going to take one loop, and as you can see what I'm doing here on screen, and just pull it through the other. I'm going to pull it real snug against the frame, but for a little extra security and to keep it from sliding around while I'm starting to wrap the yarn around the frame, I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue on each side. Then you're just going to start wrapping the yarn around the frame. This is just so easy. It is a little bit bulky when you first start because the skein of yarn is so big, but once you get going, it just flies by. It takes no time at all to create this cute little bunny. When I'm adding the next skein, I'm just going to take the loop from each end and just loop them together a couple of times, kind of pull on it, make sure it's tight, and then just continue wrapping it around. It's just very easy to connect the two. Once I finish wrapping the second skein around the frame, I'm going to snip off that extra little piece and save that for the ears. And then to connect the two pieces, again, I'm just going to take a loop from each skein, loop it together a couple of times, pull it till it's tight and snug and not going to come apart, and then I'm just going to work it back into the rest of the yarn to make it blend in. Now I repeated the exact same process on the bunny head, and it's at this point right here that I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I've used way too much yarn on the body and the head and did not save enough for my ears. So when I first wrapped it around the ears, it looked really skinny and skimpy because I'd wrapped it too tight. So I went back and undid it and just kind of did it loosely. If you decide to recreate this, I would just ensure that you keep enough yarn to make your bunny ears look really fluffy and plush, you know, to go along with the head and the body. Mine looks fine. It's just my preference. I'd rather them have been a lot more fluffy than what they turned out, but I still think it turned out super cute. To attach the two pieces, we're going to be using 4 large zip ties, and I'm just kind of pushing the yarn apart where I can see the wire for each of the 2 wreath frames, and then I'm just going to put the zip tie through and pull it together, but not completely, because once I get all 4 of them placed, I am going to go back and make sure the 2 pieces is lined up straight and even, and then I'll just go back and finish cinching the zip ties and then just cut off that excess plastic. Now's when we're going to get to have some fun and embellish our sweet little bunny. We're going to add in some of these peachy foam roses, and I picked these up during Valentine's from the Dollar Tree. Just going to hot glue those across the top, and then I'm going to come back and add in some of these little pieces of greenery and lavender, and this also came from the Dollar Tree. Now, you could make this a boy bunny if you wanted to. You could add a big fluffy tail, a big blue bow, whatever you want to make. Use any color, whatever flowers you might have on hand. I chose to use these because I had these and I love this color. I think it's just so pretty. All that's left to do is just add in our bow, and this beautiful ribbon came from Michael's. I picked it up last year when they were having their clearance sales after Easter, and that's when I love to stock up on my ribbon and flowers. But anyway, just going to pop in the bow, and y'all, we are finished. I didn't want to add too many embellishments because I think this bunny is just stunning in its simplicity, and I absolutely love this. Thank y'all so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I truly appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And if you're looking for more Easter inspiration, I have some more right here on the screen for you. And I will see you soon.